Hello and welcome. We are the Epitome Assault doing a set review for the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I'm Kevin and joining me today is Nate.
What up?
And we are going to be finishing up the uncommons for red, green, and then multicolored and colorless. And before we dive in, Nate, could you please give us an overview of how this works?
Yeah, so we're going to go through each card. We're going to give it a rating, talk a little bit about it. Rating is on a scale from A to G. Instead of an F tier, we have a good art tier. C is average. Things you're happy to play, but not like overjoyed. B is a little bit more powerful. Things you're excited about playing. A is like going to win you the game by itself or thereabouts. D is getting into those middling playables, and good art tiers for things that we just don't think are very playable because there are no bad cards, they just have nice art.
Cool. And we do have a small confession to make. It is the Sunday after the pre-release, and so while I have not gotten my hands on the cards, Nate here has. How did it go for you, Nate?
I mean, we're talking about red and green. I've played red and green and did really well with them. So a lot of these uncommons we'll talk about played very well for me. So
He's being honest. He's 6-0'd with Daniel Beats. So I think he's going to be our resident expert today, but we're going to try and, at least I'm going to be the open-minded perspective, even though I've watched some YouTube videos. I haven't really played with the cards yet, so I'm going to be getting the more unrefined take, shall we say. Without further ado, Nate, lead us off with our first card.
let's do it. Diamond Pickaxe, 1 red for an artifact equipment. It has Indestructible. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has whenever this creature attacks, make a treasure. Equip cost of 2.
Does it give the creature indestructible?
No.
Okay.
The equipment itself has Indestructible.
Ah, so it doesn't die to a break.
Correct.
Nice. So that makes it... man, this card always ends up being playable, but just barely.
Yeah, this is, I think, more playable than average, but still just barely playable.
I'll give it a D.
I'm going to go D+.
And unfortunately, we do not have John Veas. He is getting ready to stream, so yeah, we'll be looking out for that soon on the horizon.
You're a row too high.
My row too high?
You are.
Oh. Then why don't you read this next card and I'll fix it.
Yeah.
Actually, do it.
Dreadmaw's Ire, 1 red for an instant. Until end of turn, target attacking creature gets +2/+2, gains trample, and has whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy target artifact that player controls.
Is this the rare C art, like, combat trick? This thing feels kind of gross to me.
I mean, it kind of is.
Like, because you destroy an artifact and +2/+2, that's enough to swing
and
combat.
trample.
So but you have to get in, but still, like,
Correct.
I'm gonna give this a C-. I think this is the best combat trick I've seen by a lot.
This is the best combat trick for specifically when you're being aggressive. This is useless otherwise.
I don't play combat tricks in defensive decks.
That's fair. But if you ever like had a situation where +2/+2 would save something on the defense and you think about it, this doesn't do it. But it does the combat trick thing very well.
I never want to cause combat tricks into open mana that just has to be blown out. So I'm giving this a C-. How about you?
I went D+. I still really like it as combat trick.
Okay, wow. I can't imagine what it would take to get something higher. But talking about things that I do like for 1 red, Triumphant Chomp is a sorcery. Triumphant Chomp deals damage to target creature equal to 2 or the greatest power among dinos you control, whichever is greater. I mean, this thing by itself is like a C, but then if you just happen to be in the dinos deck, it goes like right on up to like B.
This is a C+ average, like 1 mana deal 2 to a creature. If you have any amount of dinosaurs, this thing is straight at minimum B, if not B+.
Okay. I think since it's a sorcery, I would usually give it a C, but because of the upside, it gets pulled up to C+ for me.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, this is pretty good. There's not a lot of things I would take, and I would kind of be happy taking this early.
You don't need a lot of dinos for this to work.
Yeah, I'll give it a C. I'll give it a B-. I'm actually kind of high on this card.
I'm a B-. I'm very high on this. Yeah, big fan.
Belligerent Yearling, 1 in a red for a 3/2 dinosaur with trample. Whenever another dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Belligerent Yearling's base power become equal to that of that creature's power until end of turn. One day it will be as terrifying as it thinks it is. This thing is just an unmitigated banger.
This is the single best aggressive 2-drop at common or uncommon in the entire set.
Yeah, because it has no compromises, and this is the format with like the worst 2-drops imaginable.
Yeah.
This thing is the 2-drop
This
you
is
want.
the premium 2-drop for this format in red.
I'll give it a B.
Yeah, sure. B. I was thinking about B plus there for a minute, but yeah.
I mean, it's a 3-2 with trample. If it was like a 3-3 for 2,
Yeah,
maybe
if
then
it had another toughness, then
yeah, but it still trades with like a lot of the bears. So
and
yeah.
it's still, you know, on turn 3 attacks, or on turn 4 or 5 attacks as a 5-2 or a 6-2 trample.
Sure.
Is good.
But it trades with bears, so it still can't go too crazy.
Yeah.
What does this one do, Nate?
Dowsing device, 1 in a red. Whenever dowsing device or another artifact ETBs under your control, up to 1 target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Then if you control 4 or more artifacts, flip it. It flips into Geode Grotto, which is a cave land. Taps to add a red mana, pay 2 in a red, tap it until end of turn. Target creature gains haste and gets +X/+0 or X is the number of artifacts you control at sorcery speed.
I like how much purple there is on this
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Good. Enterprising Scallywag. 1 in a red for a Goblin Pirate. 2/2 bear. At the beginning, it's not actually bear. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, create a treasure token. I mean, this thing, you want upside for your bear? This is upside for your bear. He would have wanted me to have it.
Yeah. This is really nice upside for your bear. It's not Belligerent Yearling, but it is.
It trades with Belligerent Yearling.
It does. But you do kind of want this thing to stick around at least for a turn or two.
Yeah, like this guy just sticks around, and he fixes your mana sometimes. He trades off if you need it.
Single ramp artifacts for the pirate artifact tribal deck. Like, I really like this guy.
I think treasure tokens are valuable enough to me that I promote this up to a C+.
Yeah, I'm on C+.
Well, because these things are just you just like having them.
Yeah.
C+, and moving on to the next one, Nate.
Saheeli's Lattice, 1 in a red artifact. When it ETBs, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. Crafts with 1 or more dinosaurs for 4 in a red. And it flips into a star 4, where its power is equal to the total power of the exiled cards used to craft it.
Now, this effect has been printed in a lot of sets, and it's never very good. However, I do like that this is the most upside. They are really trying to get us to put this card in our deck.
This is the most pushed I've ever seen this kind of effect of card selection on ETB. It's an artifact, and flipping into a star 4, which means, well, it dies to a braid, but that's only because it's an artifact.
That's funny.
It's not because of its stats.
That's okay. 84% of the things in this set die to a braid.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? This card is sweet. It is an effect that you don't have a lot of room for in your deck, although it is like the version of the effect that you want in your deck.
Yeah.
I think this effect is, it's not something you actually can play a bunch of them, because if you get a bunch, you just cycle away the other ones. I'll give this card a C. I think it's solid.
Yeah, I think this is the C for me. I'm be decently happy to run 1, especially in like a dino deck. More but runnable in a pinch.
I'll run two or three of these, and they'll just be my card draw engine. That's
card selection engine, but yes.
Well, it does. Well, okay, so because you discard 2 cards. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Zayoiwa's Justice. 1 in a red for an instant. The owner of target artifact or creature with mana value 1 or greater shuffles it into their library. Then that player discovers X, where X is its mana value. This is weird. I usually expect this kind of stuff to be in blue.
I was going to say I usually expect this kind of stuff to be in Commander.
The owner of target artifact or creature with mana value 1 or greater shuffles it into their library. Then that player discovers X, where X is its mana value.
Then they get a free spell.
What happens if you do this to like a crafted thing? Does it would have a mana value of 0, so you can't target it?
It depends on if the craft side retains the front side's mana value or not.
Does it?
I don't know.
I don't think it. Let's read a craft card. Exile this artifact. Exile. No, it does not. Because you exile both, and then the flip side comes in. Okay. Interesting. I think this is probably not that great. But, I don't know, you kind of downgrade their creature.
but it's not a guaranteed downgrade. I guess
Well, it is. It's guaranteed.
it's likely a downgrade at least.
But they get the ETB.
Yeah.
They discover. This doesn't seem very good to me.
I'm not a big fan of this.
I'm trying to think of like what's the joke here? Like what are we supposed to be doing?
The
We're
joke,
doing this to our own
the joke
thing.
here is you do this to your own thing.
Okay, well in that case it has nice art. But
Exactly.
let's talk about how we can use this, how we can scam someone with this. It's really like counters. You can't target crafted stuff. That's like I think what you want to be doing.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it
I
a D
mean-
minus because I'm not smart enough to see what's supposed to be happening, and I'm sure someone somewhere will figure something out.
Yeah.
Like
I think this kind of effect usually belongs into Commander.
yeah, like I'm sure.
Of sure, you're spending 2 mana to, if you get rid of a 3-drop or a 4-drop, on average they're hitting 1 or 2 mana less. So really you're getting rid of a card to downgrade them 2 mana and an ETB on average.
Something is. I'm not getting something.
I don't understand the power of this in Limited.
I don't get it. I'm gonna give it a D minus just in
Yeah,
case.
I'm giving it a D minus, but this belongs into someone's gonna have to beat me with this before I even consider playing.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Calamitous Cave In. What does that one do? All right, did I skip some?
Scytheclaw Raptor.
How could I miss this guy? He's so large. Scytheclaw Raptor, 2 and a red for a 4/3 dinosaur. When a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, Scytheclaw Raptor deals 4 damage to them.
This thing's a house.
Absolute house. This is like the this is part of what you'd call the Golden Road curve. You play that yearling on 2, you play this guy on 3,
thing on
and you're just
3.
like, what is
You
happening?
play an
dude?
Axe Draw on 4.
Yeah, just the Golden Road of plus like overstated creatures.
Overstated dinos.
Man, that is sick. And it's
Notably, it is symmetrical. So,
I don't care. If I'm playing this thing, I don't care.
Yeah, generally speaking, you are not the deck who cares about removing your opponent's things at instant speed. So you're pretty happy about this overstated creature that's gonna eat and abrade, and if they do it on their turn, they have to take 4, or they have to spend at least half their turn doing it. Like, that's a win.
She's a smart one. I'll give her a B.
B for me. Oh, I think the names got out of order. Not your fault.
Oh. Calamitous Cave-In. What does this one do?
3 and a red. Sorcery. Calamitous Cave-In deals X damage to each creature in each planeswalker, where X is the number of caves you control, plus the number of cave cards in your graveyard.
It's a C. It's not cut in, but it's pretty good.
It's a wrath based on the number of
Oh,
caves you
I got
control.
this one confused with the common one. Oh, this is
No.
the Wrath.
No, this is the wrath.
And this is for the Caves deck. This is like the reason you play Caves.
Correct. This is a build around, like, B+.
I don't know, dude. I think the Cave deck is so bad.
I agree, which is why the next words out of my mouth are going to be, other than that, which pretty much every deck, it either has nice art or is a D- barely.
Would you ever run this in a deck that just incidentally had like 3 or 4 Caves? No.
God, no. No, this thing fucking has nice art.
It has some purple.
The purple in the upper
Because of
left
the
corner.
upside of the card, I'm not going to put it in good art. Because the Cave upside is there, and if you're in the Caves deck, you want this.
Sure.
So build around. It's like, I don't know, the Caves deck is kind of bad, though. It's like,
In the Caves deck, this is fantastic.
I'm just trying to figure out, but it's like, is the Cave deck any good? I think the
No.
Cave deck is
I
kind of...
tried to build it as, like, part of our deck shells, and it just was bad.
I'm going to give this thing a D-.
That's fair.
I think I agree with Nate that it probably has, it does have nice art, but I'm a believer. I'm gonna have to lose with it a few times before I really get there.
That's fair.
What does this card do? And I'll fix everything in a second.
Curator of Sun's Creation, 3 and a red for a 3/3 human artificer. Whenever you discover again for the same value. This ability triggers only once each turn. This is going to be one of my pet cards for the set. I don't actually think it's that great, but I love this effect. I think it's so much fun, and if I do ever get this to work, it's going to feel great. It is a hill giant with upside that it does not provide itself, which means it's not actually that good. But man, this is so much fun.
Trying to decide if I would ever put this in my deck if I needed a 4-drop, if I would just put a land or another 3 something else in. Probably, I think I actually would just put something else in.
I think I would just put
Or
a
like,
cheaper card in.
man, how many discovers would you have to have for this to be good?
Discover's so powerful that you really only need 5 or 6 for this to be playable.
So if I can get a deck with 5 the discovers in my deck,
I will play one. I will never play more than one of
I will
these.
play this. It will probably die.
And we're completely okay with that because the actual discover cards aren't getting removed. And they're usually more powerful.
I'll give it a D.
I'm going to give it a D+. But that's more of what I like to consider hopium than anything else.
Yeah. Speaking of a card that definitely is not hopium, we have Geological Appraiser for 2 red. Red is a 3/2, and when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, discover 3.
Disgusting, 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 disgusting.
This is going to be the Imidane's Recruiter, the format.
This is Blood Braid Elf, more or less. And it's only 1 color instead of being 2. It's absolutely disgusting.
This card is going to be the other. I think this card is an A-.
Yeah, this is an A- for me. This will single-handedly win you games by hitting 7 mana worth of stuff on turn 4.
Gross, and it's a single color. You
It's
can't
just
splash.
absurd.
Thank goodness you can't splash it. Like
Yeah, you
Imidane's
can't
Recruiter.
splash it. But every red deck ever is playing this. I do not care which red deck you are playing this in a heartbeat.
Sweet. Gold Fury Strider, 4 and a red for a 3/5 with trample. It is an artifact creature. Tap 2 untapped artifacts or creatures you control. Target creature gets +2 so activate only as a sorcery.
They only as a sorcery, so painful.
It's a 3/5, and sometimes with trample, and sometimes that matters, and so for that reason it goes in D-.
I think it's a little better than D-. I'll give it a solid D.
Alright, giving it a solid D, but I won't, because I will not be putting that in my deck. Ever. Maybe I will. Probably will, because I'm not drafting. But anyways, last one. Bring us. Wait a minute. We're missing.
No?
Oh, I just did these.
You just flipped them. We're good.
Okay, last
Anyways,
card. Bring us home.
Rampaging Ceratops, 4 and a red for a 5/4 dinosaur with super menace, meaning it can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures.
See, I don't even think this card's anything really special.
It's not, but it's okay.
I wouldn't go that far. I don't like how these guys ever play. They're clunky and usually terrible. I'll give it a D.
I'm on like D+ for this thing. I'm not saying it's great.
Yeah, I mean it's not. And with that, we're done with the red. We're cooking right through these things. All right. And moving on to the green. Lead us off, Nate.
Sonote Scout, 1 green for a 1/1. When it ETBs, it explores. It's a Merfolk Scout.
If you're afraid to dive into the unknown, how will you ever find anything new?
This is a 1 mana 1/1 draw card or 1 mana 2/2 surveil 1. I'm so in for this. So in for this thing.
It's hard to like give a 1-drop like a high grade because it has to impact the battlefield so much.
Yeah.
But this thing like does it.
I will play 2 or 3 of
This
these
is
and
like,
be really happy.
This is like right back to that Golden Road Dino curve.
Yeah. This belongs on the Golden Road Explore curve where you just ETB explore like every single turn and it's great.
How many of these can you run in your deck?
2 or 3.
I would run a playset.
Fair. Does this hit B- for you then?
I'm thinking like BB+.
Okay.
I mean, like, this thing is like 1-drops are so good, and this is like the 1-drop that's gonna like make sure you don't screw, or it's gonna be a 2/2.
This is probably my favorite 1-drop that we've seen, and I like some of the other 1-drops like a fair amount. Like this is my favorite 1-drop. It's still a 1-drop, which means
I'm gonna give it a B+. This card is cracked.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a B. It stays out of B plus just down to it's a 1-drop. It can't have like that much value, but I still really, really, really like it.
Like, I guess it's not a braid, but like that's why it's because it's a creature. But like, this thing helps. Low cap lantern is a green for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature has. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, and whenever this creature attacks, it explores and has a quick cost of 2. How do you feel about this card, Nate?
If this was equip cost 1, it would be so. Actually, it'd be really good. Its equip cost is 1. With an equip cost of 2, it's pretty clunky.
It's a clunker. I think the effect is powerful.
The effect is powerful, though.
These kind of cards are hard too because they're in green. It's like it's the color you really want.
It's the color that like if I'm going to play an effect like this, it is in green.
So this card D plus. I'm curious about it.
Yeah, D plus. I want this thing to work. Like I actively am interested in it, but I think low on it to start.
The best curve outs aren't gonna run it, aren't gonna have it, but
yeah,
there's gonna be decks where you'll put this in and it'll probably do some work.
Yeah. Ixalan's Lorekeeper.
Nice.
1 green for a 1/1 human druid. Tap it, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a dinosaur spell or activate an ability of a dinosaur source. Yeah, that was a. Please tell me how to say this name because I don't know. Look, I see you.
Oh yeah, called me out. This card's sweet, but it's pretty situational and it's a little small.
It's a situational mana dork, but if you draft around it, this thing is stupid. This thing in the build around deck is effectively Birds of Paradise. Or pretty close.
Bop is pretty good.
And Bop is very good. Like
you're gonna braid the Bop.
You're gonna go Ixalan's Lorekeeper into Poison Dart Frog.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna play a 3-drop.
Or that. But then you're casting 5 drops.
So I'm gonna go Ixalan's Lorekeeper into Frog and another Ixalan's Lorekeeper.
Yeah. And then you're casting 5/6 drops on turn 3.
I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think this card's like a. I'll give it a C.
This is a build around B+. I'm actually giving it a C, though.
Okay. Yeah, because it's just it is very situational. And once again, I've managed to completely, utterly mess up our order, so I'll let you do this one.
Malamet Battleglyph. 1 green for a sorcery. Choose target creature you control and target creature you don't control. If the creature you control entered the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it, then those creatures fight each other.
Sweet.
It's a 1 mana sorcery fight spell in green.
This is the thing that always does the thing, and it's always pretty good. And then we always give this. It ends up being like what? Like always like a C probably?
Yeah. Usually about a C.
Yeah, okay. And that's what I'll get it.
That's about all I have to say. Yeah.
Twists and turns. It's a green for an enchantment. If a creature you control would explore, instead you scry 1, then that creature explores. When Twisted Turn enters the battlefield, target creature you control explores. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands, transform Twists and Turns. It transforms into Mycoid Mage, which is a little cave land, which you can tap to add a green, or you could pay 3 and a green to tap. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whew. That's a lot of words.
A lot of text for 1 mana.
That's a lot of words for 1 green. I feel like you could create some sort of correlation, sort of chart between number of words per mana cost, and this thing would be pretty high on that.
It would be very high on that list.
And I feel like that would mean it would be pretty good.
I feel like that's in its benefit on average.
I like this guy. I think this guy's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm a fan of exploring for 1 mana in green. Well, scry 1, then exploring for 1 mana in green is what green wants to be doing. You get to see 2 cards, set up your draws, or draw a card and know that the land is coming.
Yeah, and if you just ever end up in the late game,
if you ever flip it in the late game, it just takes over the game. Yeah,
your opponent's just gonna sit there and just be like, "Ah, come on."
It's a repeatable effect, so you just bury your opponent.
And it's so slow. It's so slow and clunky too that it's just gonna draw out the game forever, and you're just slowly.
But you spent 1 mana on the front side, so you don't even care if it turns.
Exactly. This card is sweet. And
I'm a fan.
I think I'd give this card. The only thing is, you don't want to run too many of these.
No, I don't want to be playing more than say 2 of these.
I don't think I ever play more than like 1.
One, I'm happy about. The second one would be pushing it.
So I'm gonna give this card a C minus. It is sweet, but it is it doesn't affect. I mean, it's a C minus for me. I don't want to run like 2 or 3 of these. I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's right on the C minus C line. I'll go C because I really think the effect is very strong on the front end.
Okay.
Of I think having one is good enough to bump it up, but yeah, on the line.
Respectable. Explorer's Cache is 1 green for an artifact. Explorer's Cache enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. When a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it dies, put a 1/1 counter on Explorer's Cache. You can tap it and move a 1/1 counter from Explorer's Cache onto target creature, activate only as a sorcery.
It's not a creature, so it doesn't affect the board on turn 2. But being able to move +1/+1 counters around to different creatures and have them come back means when the creature dies, you kind of aren't losing a power and toughness, if that makes sense. So it does have some extra value, and it almost acts like a storage battery for power and toughness.
But you only get 1/1 counter back.
Correct. Which is why you spread out the 1/1 counters. You don't.
So now I have to have a large board somehow, magically, after I have to have a large board and then play Explorer's Clash and then put the. This card's like a D. I don't care. This card is so slow and clunky, and this thing's gonna end up in people's hands.
Even if you have 2 creatures.
You play this, you tap it, you get a 1/1 counter.
Mm-hmm. And then you get a 1/1 counter the next turn as well. I'm not saying I love it, because I don't.
This card is, luckily, it's escaping the curse of purple right now. I'm giving it a D. This is too dirtily for me.
I'm gonna go D+, but I think the format's a little more dirtily than you, but not a lot.
Not what I'm blaming. Glimpse the Coordinate. What does this one do?
1 and a green for a sorcery. Choose 1. Search your library for a basic forest, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. Return target cave card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Wow, it's a good thing we brought a poet. Now, if I'm not going to play a creature on turn 2, this is what I want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to go get it from your deck? Sweet.
Yeah.
The cave players are going to cut my good card.
What cave players? All 2 of them?
Exactly. That's the problem. They're going to be taking my good cards away.
Nah, dude. This thing is just sweet. And if you have some incidental caves that you've used to discover in the late game, and you draw this, and you've already discovered, it gets your discover cave back, so you can discover again.
This is a rare thing you're about to see, Nate. I, Kevin, am about to give a 2-mana proactive non-creature play
A good grade.
a C. This is sweet. I'll run a bunch of these.
I think this is a C+.
Wow.
It's not quite the B- of Poison Dart Frog, but like ramp is gonna be like very useful in this format. You just want to have access to as much mana as possible every turn. So ramp, and it's not a dead card in the late game.
It's kind of a little bit of a dead card.
But if you're returning a cave, it's slow discover.
Right. So after you've already played, untapped, then discovered off a cave, it's a payoff. That gets you back the cave. That comes it back tapped.
That's significantly more than your average ramp spell is going to give you.
That's true, but this is limited, not commander.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that eventually TM this would do better than just a wild growth or some whatever.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a C. C plus.
Yeah, I'm on C+.
What about this one?
Tendril of the Myco Tyrant, 1 and a green for a 2/2 fungus wizard. 5 green. Put 7 +1/+1 counters on target non-creature land you control. Becomes a 0/0 fungus creature with haste. It's still a land.
I love that it comes back with haste.
Dude, this thing is... It looks like a bear, but this thing is so sick.
This thing is sweet. It's
This thing is such a huge problem in the late game. It just sits there, and then eventually TM, i.e. the late game, it becomes a removal magnet. And if you're spending your premium removal on my bear instead of my other good creatures, I am very happy.
Yeah, like this is one of those things that's like, it's so sweet in draft because you put it in your deck and, you know, you run like, say, you could run a place out of these and then most of them just, you trade them off and you don't really care. Yeah. And then in the late game, if you top deck one, you're like, oh, sweet. Slam that thing down and now your opponent's like, oh no.
Yeah,
I need to kill this thing.
This thing gets out of hand really fast.
That said, it is a bear. I give it a C.
How many of these do I want to run?
I don't know, 4. I run 3 of them. Actually, I run 3.
That's a C plus for me.
I'll run 3.
That's a C plus.
Really?
Yeah.
Eh.
I'm happily running 3 of a thing.
I mean, I'm not happily. I think I'd happily run
2.
I think I'd happily run like 1 personally, and but I'm not that annoyed about the extras, but like,
Sure.
you know, I'd rather these 2 jobs be more good.
Sure.
If I'm honest with you, less berry
Sure.
and more, you know, 3-2 trampoline.
That's fair. But also, I'm not. You can't expect yourself to get a 3-2 trample every game.
That's true.
If I'm not doing that, like in a format as mana hungry as this one, this is something I very much enjoy doing and having access to it because it's not a dead draw in the late game.
Here's the one problem though with what you're saying is I agree with you, but what you said kind of makes sense. Is there's so much to do in this format? Like, you're usually gonna have other stuff you could do. Like, this is pretty good, but like it is.
But it's also not a dead draw in the late game.
It's not, but you need 8 mana to like attack with that or make a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. That's still a lot.
You can still do it at instant speed, by the way.
Yeah, it's true, but green's not really the deck I'm nervous about doing things at instant speed.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you have nothing else to do with your mana and you want a blocker, you make a blocker on their end step.
Okay, well, I can't talk you down, so we'll stick with our greens. Is this Coyote Scavenger? Coati Scavenger. 2 and a green for a 3-2 raccoon. Nice. It has descend 4 when Coati Scavenger enters the battlefield. If there are 4 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand.
Slow, slightly understated Gravedigger. Meh.
Man, this is sad. This card should be good, but it's not.
If Descend is good, this thing will be good. If Descend is bad, like I'm predicting it is, or at least on the slower side, it's like, what, D plus at best?
Look at this card at D. I think it's not... no, I mean, it's a little better than 3, 3, 4. It's not that much better. I'm gonna give it a D plus because it's a raccoon.
I'm on D plus, but not ideal.
Like, I'm never upset about having it in my deck, but there's definitely things that I would rather have.
Be doing that.
Speaking of things I would love to be doing, Spelunking for 2 and a green is an enchantment. When Spelunking enters the battlefield, draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you put a cave on the battlefield this way, you gain 4 life. Lands you control enter the battlefield untapped. This will be sweet for the Pioneer Lotus Fields combo deck.
This is weirdly not a limited uncommon. I guess technically it's supposed to go in the cave deck, but this is just not.
3 mana, I think now
3 mana, draw a card in green that gives you an option to put a land if you have an extra land on the battlefield. Yikes.
See, I feel like before Friday, if I would have given this card nice art, people would have been like, no, but just think. And now the people have gone through Friday, they're like, okay, this is another normal, modern, limited format. You can't run this. Okay.
I mean, I would have given this thing nice art before Friday.
I'm just saying people.
But yes, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'll
get a D- because in the Caves deck, it matters.
What Caves deck?
I think there'll be a Caves deck, and
okay.
If it comes together, it will be a serviceable deck. So we can actually take a brief interlude for 30 seconds. Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
I've been brewing this thing. So I haven't played. He's played. Red, green base.
Mm-hmm.
The red, you play a bunch of the treasure makers, and you can splash. That's how you splash all of like the payoffs and every other color. And so.
And you also have access to poison dart frogs.
You have access to poison dart frogs. And your main colors, though, are like the explore creatures, which are the ones drawing you the lands.
Sure.
That's and also you get a braid. And you get the 4-drop that's just going to win you games. So it's like, you're in kind of the deep colors, and if the deck is open, like, you can, I think, get away. That's how I'm brewing that you're going to be able to cast that. Because it's basically like you want a bunch of solid creatures and lands and like late game
But
stuff.
is Spelunking really what you want to be doing in 3 mana in that deck?
No, you do it on like 5 mana though, and you gain some life. Stabilize. Gaining 4 is like a decent amount. There's like
Okay.
I mean-
Gaining life spells in Magic, especially for 3 mana, are just not good. In limited, that is.
Oh yeah, this thing is terrible. Damn it.
I want you to be right. I really do.
Okay, so you're right. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the case. That's my idea. I think that idea might actually have something to it, but this card is not going to help you accomplish that.
No.
Okay.
That's where.
Good. Thank you.
Yes.
You helped me. You helped me. I helped you.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this one.
Thrashing Brontodon. 1 green for 3/4 dinosaur. Pay 1, sack it, destroy target artifact or enchantment. This is a reprint, but this is a reprint I'm really happy to see because this thing is really good in this format.
Is the thing sweet or what?
This thing is awesome. It's a above rate creature with a relevant ability that you can do.
Why doesn't it have sneaky reach?
It doesn't need it.
Well, it should have it. It looks like it should have sneaky reach.
Gonna
Look how long that neck is.
we're gonna get some. We have enough hidden reach in this format.
I love this guy. The green, the double green hurts my feelings a little bit. Yeah. And I don't ever want to sack the Brontodon, and when I do, I'm going to be like, goodbye, sweet prince.
Sometimes you do want to sack the Brontodon, but when you do, you're a little sad about it.
I'm going to be say goodbye, sweet prince, as I do it.
Yeah.
I love this guy. This card is very situational, but it's a 3-drop dino, so it's never going to be bad. I'll give it a C+, because...
I'm on C+. Double green hurts. But it's an above rate creature with a very relevant ability.
Yeah, even though it does hurt my feelings if I ever have to sack it.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna go C because sometimes it's just a little clunker. It's a little clunky. Speaking of other things that are a little clunky.
Colossadactyl, 2 green for a 4/5 dinosaur with reach and trample. Dude, this thing is a house.
It's so big.
It doesn't die to a braid. The only thing that kills it is Join the Dead.
It has reach.
And it has reach. And it has trample. And it's a dinosaur.
You're going to play this on turn 3 and be against like some aggro guy, and they're going to be like, what the heck do I do?
What am I supposed to do? I'm just dead.
It's a Colossadactyl.
This thing is fantastic.
I'll give it a B-. It's a 4-drop, so you can't run too many.
Yeah. You can't run too many because it's 4 mana, but it's a B- for me. Of like, this is the kind of 4-drop at common or uncommon that I would happily run multiple of. Jade Seed Stones is next. 3 and a green for an artifact. When an ETB is distribute 3+1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures you control. Craft with creature 5 green. It flips into Jade Heart Attendant, a 7/7 artifact creature golem. When Jade Heart Attendant ETBs, you gain life equal to mana value of the exiled card used to craft it.
It's like a 4-mana 3/3 haste with some slight upside.
That requires you to have another creature, at least, on board to give you any value on the front side.
A situational 4-mana 3/3 haste with some marginal upside.
D. With the rest of the Hill Giants, marginal upside takes it out of D-.
Give it a D. Move on.
Yep.
It's like a haste, but
no.
And it can kind of like swing combat a little bit.
It requires work.
It does require work, and I hate work, so...
Exactly.
It's purple. So me purple hands. Earthstraker Dreadmaw. 4 green for a 6/6 dinosaur with trample. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each other dinosaur you can control. The definition of a win more Magic the Gathering card. What could be more win more than a card that rewards you the more you're ahead on board?
Okay. It, at its base, is a 6-mana 6/6 trample, which green is already okay playing one of. If you're the
I'm like D+ right now.
If you're the dinosaur deck,
it draws you 2 cards.
It draws you 2 cards and is just stupid. This is for the dinosaur deck, this is the build around dinosaur 6-drop you want to be playing.
I'll give it a C-. I think this thing is kind of big.
For every other deck, I'm pretty happy playing 1 at my top end.
I'm very disappointed that this is not a little bigger, but I'll give it a C, but I'll give it a C- because it still is pretty good.
It's a C- because it doesn't die to Join the Dead unless you have Descent.
Yeah, and if that's happened,
that's the important bit.
You've gone awry somewhere.
Yeah.
C-. What do you give it?
C-.
C-. All right. And with that, we are just pounding these things out. We're already done with the green.
Yeah.
And now we go on to the. What would you do if I wasn't recording?
Try.
We move on to the colorless uncommons. We're almost there. Swashbuckler's Whip.
1 for an artifact equipment. Oh boy. Equipped creature has reach. Hidden reach. Hidden reach. Hidden reach. 2. Tap it. Tap target artifact or creature and pay 8. Tap. Discover 10. Equip cost is 1.
Usually this thing makes you like sack the creature or the equipment or something. You just get
Yeah.
to,
It's expensive, but it's repeatable.
you just get to keep doing it.
You just get a free spell or you just get a random spell off the top every turn. Doesn't matter what it is.
I like this guy.
How much do you like this?
I like it a lot
It
for an
doesn't-
equipment.
For an equipment, I like it a lot.
It's only 2 mana to equip it. It's only 1 mana to equip it. It's 1 to play it, so you can play it on
but
1.
it doesn't buff stats. It only gives
It
reach.
gives reach. That matters.
It does. But if it gave +1/+1 in reach,
And that's
it'd be
tap.
significantly better.
And it's like,
It turns it into a tapper.
here's the thing. This is gonna be like a little bit worse version of like Gingerbread. It has synergy. It's an artifact. It like taps, which matters. It's a piece of cardboard to like do things with. You get to play it on 1, which is really important. It's only equipped 1, so you just get to keep moving it around. And if you ever just happen to get to 8 mana, you just kind of win.
And have nothing to do. It just wins the game. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's great. I'm saying this is like a D+.
Okay. I was gonna put it at D+ anyway. So yes, I'm in.
This
for
is like
D+.
a normal combat trick where it's just like, you
Sure.
know, like it actually kind of
Sure.
does the thing a little bit. Contested game ball for 2. Generic. It is an artifact. Whenever you're dealt combat damage, the attacking player gains control of contested game ball and untaps it. It has 2. Tap, draw a card, and put a point counter on contested game ball. Then if it has 5 or more point counters on it, sacrifice it and create a treasure token. This card is a front runner for the card that I'm going to lose with the most in my deck.
I like how the ball is purple.
I love this card.
This is, for everyone who's not Kevin, the single biggest trap card in the entire format. This honestly might be the single worst card in the entire format because of
I'm
how
100% sure
ridiculously
this
slow
will
it is.
this will lower people's win rates.
Yeah.
As in like you would have been better off if you just start mulligan that card. If you had just discarded this, you would have been better off.
If you want to play this card in your deck, seriously play a land instead. Seriously,
I'm going to
don't
put this
care.
in my deck to style on my opponents when I beat them with my contested
Mhm.
game ball.
Have fun styling on our poor friends with your contested game ball.
Oh, I'm going to. This is like the card that they put in. I love that they do this, by the way. Some people don't think, oh, why print these cards? It's like sometimes you want to have those like meme dream cards,
Mhm.
and this is what that is. This is like that once you've kind of gotten bored of the format,
Mhm.
but you open a few contested game balls. Like now, this is like your new thing. Like you're gonna win the game in the game.
I'm gonna make a treasure token, a braid. It
No.
dies to a braid.
No, even better. They're curving out as aggro, and you play this, and you just gas them up.
Yes, actively give them more cards. That's
No,
a great idea.
I love this card. I'm gonna give it a good art minus or a good art plus.
This gets a good art plus from me. This is the meme dream. If you can get it to work,
This is like a side.
this is the if I ever lose to someone playing this card, I'm going to retire.
Yeah, like this is like a side quest. Like this is like one of the side quests for the format. Is win a game with the contested
Where
game
you
ball and then
resolve-
win the game.
Win a game, yeah. Win a game where you resolve contested game ball onto.
I'm not on
And then
2.
the
Oh
game.
no!
That is the ultimate side.
No,
quest.
the side quest is you have to win the game.
Yes.
You have to get the treasure.
Yeah.
'Cause
You have
get
to
the trophy.
resolve it onto.
And then you have to win the game somehow.
Yeah. You have to resolve it onto, then get the treasure, and then win the game. That's the side quest.
Okay.
That's hard mode, the side quest.
Challenge accepted. Dig Site Conservator. 2 generic for an artifact creature Gnome. It's a 2/1. Sacrifice Dig Site Conservator at instant speed. Exile up to 4 target cards from a single graveyard and activate only as a sorcery. Oh, never mind. When Dig Site Conservator dies, you may pay 4 if you do discover 4. Man, the amount of times people are gonna. This thing is just gonna die, and you're not gonna have 4 mana a lot because your opponent Has a brain.
But also, I don't know, if your opponent's removing this intentionally, that's not
Did you
terrible.
win? You kind of won.
You kind of won.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
2-mana 2/1.
your
If your
gnome
opponent's
your gnome kind of did
if
it.
your opponent is removing this intentionally, like that's a win. They could be removing, literally anything
I like
better.
how they gave the graveyard hate, and like the graveyard archetype's already like the weakest one in my opinion,
Yeah.
and they gave the graveyard hate at uncommon like to everybody just here.
Yeah.
Oh man, that hurts. This thing is like a. I honestly want to almost give it a D plus just because I love how it's
Same.
beating down the like
And
bad
also,
deck.
you can trade this off. Excuse me. You can let this get even on blocks and discover 4 at instant speed. If you have 4 mana lying around. That's not terrible.
I'm giving this a D. I'm not gonna drink the Kool-Aid that hard. It's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
It's a 2-1.
It's emergency playable. It doesn't have nice art. I'm giving it a D.
I'm giving it a D. I will not hear any of this D plus tomfoolery from you. Sorceress Spyglass. What is this one name?
2 generic for an artifact. A Sorceress Spyglass ETBs look at an opponent's hand and choose any card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Why is this card unlimited? Again? This is a reprint.
This is going to be a contender for. This is going to be a member of the worst pack possible.
I like how the hair is purple, and just if you look around the edges, all you'll see is purple.
I don't understand. Yeah. This card is nice art. Okay.
It has nice art.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
This one I genuinely don't understand.
Yeah.
What's the next card do?
Careening Minecart, 3 generic for an artifact vehicle. It's a 3/3 with crew 1. Whenever Careening Minecart attacks, make a treasure token.
This card's sweet.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
It's like fixing and just a decent playable, and
yeah,
you can always get people with weird artifact equipment or interactions they're not expecting.
Yeah. It's not the greatest thing ever, 3 mana 3/3 that requires you to tap a creature to crew it every turn. Not ideal, but it's solid.
But if you tag this thing, you get paid.
Literally.
I'll give this card a C. I think it's sweet.
I'll give it a C-. Still like it.
All right, and with that, we move on to Sunbird Standard.
3 generic for an artifact. Taps to add 1 mana of any color. Craft with 1 or more cards for 5 generic. It flips into a star flying vigilance haste. Sunbird effigies power and toughness are each equal number of colors among the exiled cards used to craft it. It taps for each color among the exiled cards used to craft Sunbird effigy. Add 1 mana of that color.
I'm going to lose this card at some point, but I'm not going to admit that it's actually. I actually don't think it's that bad.
I don't think it's that bad.
I'll give this card a D plus. I actually think it's more playable than a lot of people give it credit for. Even if you're just, it's like not a great mana rock, and then the ability flip is kind of expensive. But if this thing is a 2/2 flying vigilance haste, like these kind of get for free. That's not.
And also, the backside, sweet art. That's so cool.
Very amazing. As a front runner for one of this, this is like another front runner for like a playmat level art.
Yeah. This is like approaching playmat level art. It's beautiful, but I'm giving it like a D.
Okay, so D plus for me, D for you. Scampering Surveyor. 4 generic for an artifact creature. Gnome. It's a 3/2. When Scampering Surveyor enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card or cave card. Put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Unless you have that enchantment on 3 from green.
Why are we playing bad cards to make our bad cards better?
Because that is how you get the caves deck.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's so weird because it's like, do you want that mana for your 4 drop?
If this thing was like a 3 mana 2/1, I would like it so much more.
I still think this card kind of plays.
It's still okay.
It trades with like a decent amount of stuff.
I don't love it, but it does ramp. At least it puts the land on the battlefield.
You get to draw and play a land of your choice.
A basic or cave.
Yeah, but you get to choose.
More or less.
You built the deck, so you get to choose.
Yeah.
This card's pretty sweet. If you're splashing, you definitely want this.
Yeah.
If you're not splashing, you probably
Don't want this.
For that reason. But it is pretty decent on the splash. It's not great. It's not. This card's hard. I think I'll give it a. Would I ever put this in a 2-color deck? Probably not, right?
No.
Okay, then it's a D plus.
Yeah, exactly. It's a D plus for me.
But like, if it ends up there, I'm not gonna be.
Yeah, if it ends up in my deck, especially if I'm splashing, I'm not gonna be too upset.
Hoverstone Pilgrim, 5 generic for an artifact creature. Golem is a 2/5 with flying and ward 2, and you can pay 2 at any point. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the bottom of its owner's library.
It's not just creatures; it's any card.
Target card from a graveyard at the bottom of its owner's library. That's interesting. I'm not.
Look, my hot take for the artifacts is I like this thing. It's not the best thing ever. It's a 5-mana 2/5 flying ward 2, but in these slower decks, it actually is pretty relevant. It gets rid, like, you can get rid of your opponent's descend, or you can, if you're gonna mill yourself out, put whatever you want on the bottom of your library every turn.
What are you gonna give this? Just tell me. Just tell me.
I know you're gonna say this thing has nice art.
Just tell me what you think this thing is.
It's not good.
You're right. I agree. So far, we're on the same page.
I'm deciding if I'm gonna go so far as to give it a D. I don't think I am. I think I'm gonna give it a D minus.
I can't do it. I can't. I really tried to think that we're gonna play a modern limited format where milling out matters, and you want to put this in your deck.
There has been one of those. It was an Innistrad format.
I don't care, Nate.
Recently.
That doesn't
That's
exist.
the only thing keeping it out of good art tier is the existence of that
I
format.
am giving this thing good art, and when someone proves me wrong, then you know what? I guess I'm the idiot.
That's fair. I'm giving it a D minus.
A D minus. So it's just all right. And with that, we finished all the colorless cards. Okay,
We
so
have
now
lands.
it's lands. And then, are there any colored uncommon lands?
Nope.
Okay, so
Don't think so, at least.
And then what we need to do then is we need to put these here actually.
Yep.
We need to put them in order. Cavernous Maw is a land. It is a cave. You can add 1 generic, or you can pay 2 and it becomes a 3/3 elemental creature until end of turn. It's still a cave land. Activate only if the number of other caves you control plus the number of cave cards in your graveyard is 3 or greater. Why?
Yeah.
Because then it would be too good. Because then people that
Okay.
only true cave players get to play this.
Okay, this thing would be too good if it was better mutable, to be fair to wizards here. It's definitely not better Mutavault, but it's so much worse than Mutavault. You're only playing this if you have literally 10 or more caves. Which, good luck.
These kind of cards, man. I'm gonna lose to someone who's running 3 caves, and they're gonna like go cave.
No,
cave,
they
cave.
need 4. They need 3 other caves.
They have 4 caves, and they're just gonna do the cave curve out on me or something. This
Yep.
card, I give it a.
The mouth is purple.
I'm giving it a D minus. Someone's gonna figure it out.
Dude, it has nice art. It's a like build around playable land, but no.
It's a land. I'll give it a D minus. Lands make decks all the time.
No, I'm not playing this intentionally unless I'm the cave deck.
That's what I'm saying. So in the cave deck, it'll be like a D minus.
Sure. And in every other deck, it'll have nice art.
Well, actually, I think in the cave deck, it'll be like a C minus, D plus, and then yeah, I'm giving it a D minus. Someone at some point is gonna play this card, and it's gonna be pretty all right.
I agree with that statement.
Okay.
It's probably won't
Forgotten Monument is a leather land cave. It taps for 1 generic. Other caves you control have tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color. It's the fixing land cave.
I actually think this is okay.
I like this guy.
Even if you just have 1 or 2 other caves, it's incidental fixing and it's a colorless land by itself.
Okay,
I
like
actually think this is okay.
I'll give it a D plus.
Yeah, D plus.
Good job, cave guy land.
You can stay.
You can stay. Pit of Offerings.
Pit of Offerings is a cave that enters the battlefield tapped. When an ETBs exile up to 3 target cards from graveyards. Tap to add 1 colorless, or can tap to add 1 mana of any of the exiled cards' colors.
Another hate effect on the worst archetype.
This is free graveyard hate, and it also gets rid of craft fodder
This
in the graveyard.
This is sweet.
I'm a fan.
Give it a C.
Yeah. I'm a fan. C for this thing. Like, you're just gonna play it in any deck incidentally, and it's not a big
Sometimes
deal.
you're gonna get people with it.
Yeah.
Sweet, like that. Volatile Vault is taps to add a colorless. You pay 1, sack it, and destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. That player may search the library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. You create a treasure token. No, thank you.
This thing does not replace itself with another land, therefore it has nice art.
It does have nice art.
That is all I have to say.
I will say that.
If it got you another land, maybe D-. Maybe.
No. And with that, we move on. We're going to actually quickly revisit the signposts and columns. We didn't officially ever grade them, but we will be moving fast because we've already talked about that before. Yep. But we'll talk now that we've kind of done a retrospective of the format. It'll be a little easier to see how can we do this.
Yeah.
So the problem with this is that.
Why don't we just put them in the deck?
That's a good idea.
So just double click on all of them in order.
Thank you, Nate. Thinking.
Oh, we gotta scroll all the way back to the question mark. Oh,
nice.
Nice.
This is scuffed. Okay, so we're gonna do is we're gonna refresh the page. And we're gonna scroll over here. Okay.
Why is it like this?
Great. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go like this, and we're gonna do this the hard way.
The old-fashioned way.
I apologize to the audience for this app is obviously wonderful. It's called SealedDeck.tech, and obviously this has made our reviewing experience infinitely better.
It really
and
has.
while, as you can see, there are still some work to be done, it is really an amazing tool, and I really am thankful to the creators for creating it for absolutely free. All right, why is this not doing the thing anymore? Wow. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go like this, we're going to go like that, and we're going to go like that.
It's slightly cut off.
See if we can't get this right. No, we're just going to do it like this. All right, and that's going to have to be how we finish this off.
Let's do it.
Revisiting these. Lightning round. How good is it?
Master's Guide Mural. In the right deck, I'm a fan. You're almost never splashing this.
Okay. C+?
Yeah, C+.
Artifact deck, it's like an A.
Yep.
The Great Mistake.
Well, it's in his name. Mistake.
Really? You wouldn't?
It's not like that bad.
The finale counters what really does it for me. That's probably for constructed or something.
Yeah.
If you didn't have that, it'd be pretty sweet.
It's a 5-mana 6/4 Vig Menace. The vast majority of the time, that's it.
Okay, I'll give that like a C-. I think it's pretty decent.
I'll play 1. C-.
Yeah.
But big letdown for a signpost on common. Though.
Yeah, you expect more from that for doing the thing. Zayoiwa Lava Tongue.
Zayoa. This thing's a house, dude. If I'm black and red, I'm playing this in every deck and as many copies as I can find.
Yeah, if you can cast it, it's like a B.
Yep.
So we'll just assume that people know they don't splash it.
Yeah.
That's a big assumption because people are gonna, we're gonna try.
I'm gonna say B- because don't splash it, but in the right deck it's B.
Sure, I'm giving it a B. I think it's sweet.
Fair. It's Quint. Thoughts? Dude, if I can cast it even on the splash and playing this thing, it's so good.
This thing is so good.
This is a B+ for me.
B+, hard. If it was easier to cast, it'd be an A.
Exactly.
Quetzal.
So I like Kutsil. I don't love Kutsil. I'll give it like a C. It's a 3-mana 3/3, which is great with a relevant ability, but that relevant ability is not that good. And then if you get the other thing to work, it's great, but good luck.
Yeah, see, still, like, if you can cast it, it's pretty good. Never splashing it.
Yep.
Bartolome del Presidio.
I love this guy, dude. Like, you're never splashing it, but it's free, instant speed, sack, outlet. Like, it's just so much.
Well, the
value.
artifacts, too.
Yeah, being able to sack artifacts is so huge. In the right deck, this thing is like B plus A minus overall. I'm giving it like a B minus.
Give it a B. This
Yeah,
card's really
I'm a
strong.
B. I think it's a really strong card. Just don't play it if you don't have stuff to sack.
Captain Storm, Cosmium Raider. When an artifact ETBs you control, put one counter on a creature on target pirate you control,
Including herself.
Sweet! This is not a B. This card is
This
sweet.
is splashable. If you are blue-white artifacts, hell yeah, I'm splashing this. This is a B for me. Because it buffs herself.
Yep. The card's sweet. Moving on. The Seething Tower. Akawali, the Seething Tower. Man, people have been drinking the Kool-Aid on this guy, and Descend just is not getting over the line. That said, it is pretty strong. I think it's one of the strongest Descend payoffs.
Yeah. My guess is on average, this will be a 3-mana 5/5 trample. But it requires a significant amount of work, so it's not as good as a 3-mana 5/5 trample, which by itself.
But a 3-mana 5. But like then again, if I'm doing the deck, this is the payoff I want, so I'll give it C plus because it's actually pretty strong.
Yeah, C plus because it's strong, and if you are a Descend deck, this is the payoff you want. Caparocti Sunborn.
Thank you. OP. It's OP.
I really like this. I really, really like this thing. I'm deciding if I want to put it in B or B plus. Because
it's unbelievably lit.
Like, blue-white artifacts is splashing the
You know
hell
what?
out of this thing.
I'll go even higher. I think this is an A minus. I think this thing wins the game by itself if you don't stop it.
Okay. Well, it quite literally doesn't. Because it has to attack and you have to have other things to tap.
I will.
Okay. I'm still giving it a B plus, but quite literally you require other things in order for it to work.
Sure, fair enough. But I think this thing wins games. A minus for me. It probably does end up being like a B because it's double color and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But nope, A minus.
Yeah.
I'm calling it.
Okay. The Consul Current Conductor. Dude, this thing is a house.
Absolute house. The problem I'm feeling myself right now is it's a 2-mana 2/3, which is good.
Above rate.
It's a Merfolk Scout, which matters.
Mm-hmm.
It has a relevant ability. Whenever you scores, you get a land. Blah blah blah. You know, you get.
It has a relevant ability with
whenever you do a
thing.
Whenever you do a thing you already want to be doing.
Yeah, you get more value.
I have just been tainted by so many formats in a row where blue green has been utterly unplayable that I just have trouble giving this the grade that it really does deserve. And for that reason, I'm going to give it. I don't know. I don't trust it. I'm giving it a C.
Okay. I mean, I'm not grading this whether on.
I'll give it a C plus. You're right.
How playable I think the color combination is. I think Explore is one of the better mechanics in the format. I'm giving it a B minus.
B minus.
I really like it. It doesn't win the game by itself, but man, if you are in an Explore deck, like this is one of these build around signpost uncommons in the right deck. This thing is like B plus.
You know what? Wizards has lost my trust. I'll believe it when I see it.
That's fair.
And with that, we're done.
Yeah, that's it.
We did it. We're done with us commons and uncommons. The set comes out tomorrow at noon on MTG Arena. I am so excited for this set.
I'm super hyped. I'm a little worried about Descend, but other than that, Explore looks awesome. The sack mechanics look awesome. The tribals look like a ton of fun.
Discover is good.
Discover.
Who would have known?
Insane as expected. Explore is really strong as expected. I'm really looking forward to this set and think it'll be a ton of fun.
I'm excited, and with that, we wish you all the best. We are the epitome of salt, and this concludes our Lost Caverns of Ixalan set review. See you later.
Later.